Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 2019 Nova Scotia Scotties Tournament of Hearts. We are here at the Dartmouth Curling Club for Draw 1. My name is Selena Thompson, and I'm joined by Ron Marr. Ron, thanks for joining us for this Draw 1.
Always love to stop by and see some of the competition. Today we're going to have the first match of the tournament, and it's an 18 round robin tournament. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the tournament, and then we'll introduce the competitors.
Yeah, it sounds good. So to qualify for this tournament, teams either qualified by having a higher number of CTRS points, the top 2 in the province automatically qualified, and then there was a qualifier held in December, and the remaining 6 teams were qualified in that way. We are featuring Team Breen and Team Arsenault today, and the remainder of the teams that are filling out the 8-team round robin are Jones, and they're playing McCutton Driscoll this afternoon. We also have Brothers playing Hilliard and McDermott playing McAvoy. So as I mentioned, we're featuring the Breen Arsenault game, and we saw lead Kristen Clark throw the first stone of the end, so there was a draw to the button before the game, and so Kristen throws for Team Arsenault, which means Team Breen has last rock. And we've got Amanda Simpson lined up. You want to finish introducing Team Breen?
Team Breen, the skip for Team Breen is Teresa Breen. The third is Marley Powers. Second, Jocelyn Adams, and the lead, Amanda Simpson. Coached by Jeff Wilson out of the Halifax Curling Club.
And then for Team Arsenault, of course, the skip is Marianne Arsenault. Third, Christina Black. Second, Jennifer Baxter, and lead, Kristen Clark. They also play with fifth player, Emma Logan, and their coach is Carol McLean, and they are the home team here today on our matchup. They do play out of the Dartmouth Curling Club.
Selena, is it likely that these two teams would have faced each other this year, or have they played much?
They have played each other, yep. So the teams in Nova Scotia that are competing and vying for the provincials would have played in a number of tournaments, both in Nova Scotia and out. So these teams will travel to play in other provinces. So they would have encountered each other most likely in Nova Scotia a few times, and I think they played in a couple out of province together as well.
This year's tournament's very special, with the winners of the tournament advancing to the national championship. The national Scotties is being held in Sydney from February 16th to 24th. So there's a little added incentive where they're going to be close to home, and they can have a lot of their family and friends here to watch them and cheer them on.
Yeah, I think everybody's pretty excited for the Scotties Nationals to be in Sydney. A lot of people bought their tickets already, arranging their travel plans and accommodations, so it should be really fun, and so all these teams very much want to go for that. We just had a little mix-up with the rocks there. You might have noticed they had a pause on the timer. There was a stone that Amanda needed to throw. It was on another sheet, so they got that corrected, and we're all good.
And we're off with the first stone being thrown, and it's Amanda Simpson of Team Breen. Team Breen will be tossing the blue rocks, and Team Arsenault the yellow rocks.
And so I'm not surprised here, Ron, with the stones that we have in play. It's open so far, so the leads were putting their stones in, and then a sequence of hits has been played. And everything is pretty open. Teams like to get settled, especially it's the first game of the tournament for everybody. I'd like to just get things settled and keep things open. Curling is a very fun game, and sometimes you can get a little in over your head, so keeping it clean at first.
And that's the lead, Kristen Clark for Team Arsenault.
We got on to second. Kristen threw first. That's Jen Baxter there.
Sorry about that, Jennifer Baxter.
So Jen's throwing to the open side of the sheet. We're sitting behind the sheet, but it's really hard to tell. There's two blue stones. I don't think either of them, two blue green stones, I don't think either of them's in the rings, and that's why Jen would have thrown to the open side. So Jocelyn Adams will look to hit that, keep the shooter around. Team Breen would like to get 2 points with last rock here. It's always the ideal thing in curling when you have last rock. You'd like to score 2 points. 1 is kind of usually doable and easy, so you'd like to preserve that last rock and try and get 2. So sometimes we'll see teams blank an end. They could take 1, but they take nothing in order to preserve that last rock and try and get 2 in the next.
And I'm sure the strategy changes as you get deeper into the match.
It does, yeah. It depends on the scoreboard largely. Right now we're at a tie game, so no one's too worried about the score. And these are 10-end games. In case you're not familiar with the provincial and national championship play. So we go up and down the sheet 10 times, and the teams have 38 minutes of thinking time. Most people are used to thinking time by now, so it's not measuring the amount of time where the rock is traveling down the sheet. It's just measuring the amount of time it takes for the skip to call the shot and the thrower to start throwing. It used to be that teams had 75 minutes to play, and that included the running time of the stones, but you can see that that's been drastically cut down when only thinking time is counted. And I did my first stint at timing this year, or actually the end of 2018 for the junior provincials, and learned what timing's all about. It's hard. But it's to keep the pace of the game going, so.
Selena is a skip for her team, and it'll be competing not in this tournament but in upcoming tournaments. So understanding some of the strategy is very important for the skip.
It is, and we do play a few. So I play with the Mayflower Curling Club, and we've got 3 teams representing our club here at provincials. So we get to play against them. I was away last week, and the rest of my team was sick, so we had to postpone our game. But luckily, our opponents could reschedule. They brought in another team and had a game. Felt kind of bad canceling on them, but we were in no shape to play. Sweeping's hard when you have a cold. So we're on to third stones here. Marley Powers. They're trying to get a roll behind those 2 blue stones. She got a little roll, but not very far. The teams will learn as the week goes by. They've got this plus 6 other games in the round robin to get used to the ice and understand the different paths. Every sheet is different.
And Team Arsenault does play out of the Dartmouth Curling Club. Is that an advantage? Will they know the ice surface a little bit better than perhaps?
Yeah, they would know the tendencies of the different sheets. The ice would have been flooded, and the provincial rocks have been brought in. So these are not the rocks that Team Arsenault would play with on a daily basis. But they would know the tendencies of the sheets. So it may be, low spot here and there. Or, air circulation and dehumidification, all those things affect, so they would be more familiar, but it would be fairly fresh for them as well, just in that it's a new flood and a fresh sheet ice.
Marley Powers with her 2nd rock. She's the 3rd for Team Breen.
Waiting for this one to curl. They're really looking to try and generate the 2 points and get a roll here, and it will roll, but right out of the rings and out the side. So we are down to skip stones. Marianne's up first, and I think she's just going to draw to the open side. This is really to try and keep the play away from those 2 blue stones. I know they don't look that threatening, but they are a guard for a stone in the rings, and with so few rocks left, if anyone, or if Team Breen were to get one behind those 2 blues, they'd look good to get a couple points.
First rock for skip Marianne Arsenault.
So her team has thrown this draw a couple times. Sweeper should have a good idea. Looks like it's running a bit. Marley's going to try and sweep that out the back. It's a bit surprising that Marianne's went that deep. So now here's the chance for Team Breen. They've got 2 stones remaining to 1 Arsenault stone, and if Teresa can get one around, I think Marley's also looking maybe if there's a split there. If Teresa were to tap one of the blue stones, could roll her shooter in and promote one of the blue stones into the rings, but she's going for the draw. This is a pretty new path, though. There haven't been too many rocks this way. We've been seeing mostly hits. So
First rock for skip Teresa Breen is on its way.
Let's see if she can get this around those guards. Sweeper's on it right away, which makes me think it's light. And she did just watch Marianne's go heavy, but it was in a path that had been played a little bit. So that one will come up light. So we may see Marianne switch things up and try and draw around that guard now. Try and force.
Both of the skip shots seem to be a little bit, perhaps just adjusting to the ice surface, perhaps.
Yep. So what happens? The teams did have pre-game practice, but they wouldn't have thrown rocks up and down all the paths in the ice. So going inside out typically is a fairly fresh path. Saw Marianne's go deep. Teresa's come light. So Marianne's going to give it a shot. So we're seeing her try and now go on the opposite side where she just tried to draw, because in this case, if she can come around those guards, then Teresa will have to draw for a single and won't have a chance to blank.
Second rock on the way for Marianne Arsenault.
Trying to get this one around the blue stones. It really is a game kind of, screw your opponent is what I like to think of it. You got to work hard to get it in the rings. I don't think it'll make it there. So this will be an easy decision for Teresa. As long as she can biff it down to the other end and make it through, it won't be a blank end.
And she would retain the last rock for the next end.
Absolutely. And we'll try and keep you updated if you are watching our game, but keeping your eye on the score of the other games. I'll try and keep you updated as best I can with the other games on the sheet. Everyone but one is still playing the first end. So an uneventful first end. Looked like there could get something going, but that's why teams keep it fairly open in the first end of play, not to get into too much trouble, so you end up with a blank end.
Just going to try and sing at the top. They're going to probably run the yellow one here. They're probably going to run the yellow one. Yeah. I'd say she's going to run.
Okay, after a short team conference, they're switching up ends here, and Team Arsenault will have the first rock again. And Kristen Clark, after receiving some instructions from the captain, or the skip, I'm sorry, will be lead.
Yeah, they would have planned out what their goal is for this end. They'd love to force Breen to a single, I'm sure, and take hammer. And you may not know this, or I'm sure you don't know, but Kristen Clark, this is her first year playing in the women's. She former junior national and world champion last year, playing with Caitlin Jones. You prove yourself in the juniors, and then you got to come back and do it in the women's as well.
And Kristen.
Forget about that first.
Draws to the house.
She puts that right in the 4-foot. And it's not an ideal position for a steal point. It's behind the tee line. It is in the 4-foot. Teresa's asking Amanda to hit it. I'm a little surprised. I thought maybe we'd see the corner go up, the corner guard. We're playing with a new rule this year, Ron, through all of the curling championships in Canada. And it's called the 5-rock rule. And so I thought Teresa would take advantage of it. The rule means that if your stone is in the guard zone, so in front of the rings, not in the rings, your opponent can't remove it until after the 5th stone has been, or 5th stone comes to rest. So you can't start peeling big weight hits on guards until the 6th stone. And that does make a difference. It means more rocks are in play and there's more guards.
And Kristen Clark just took out Amanda Simpson's lead. Team Breen, Amanda Simpson will be up for her 2nd rock.
And with that rollout on the hit from Kristen, here's where we are seeing the guard call from Team Breen. I guess it worked out for them. There's no other stones in the rings, and they get the corner guard. And guards are a tricky shot to play. You don't want them too close to the rings, or they're hard to curl around. And if they're too far away, then they're easy to play a hit around. So sweepers were working hard to get that one fairly close to the rings.
You notice the skip, Teresa Breen, jumped in there to help with the sweeping, just to help position that rock a little bit better for the team.
3 sweepers is better than 2, I guess. I don't know how effective the 3rd sweeper is, but I think it's more of mental assistance. Because if you've never done it, sweeping end to end is very, very difficult.
Jennifer Baxter for Team Arsenault has played just in front of the house.
Of course, if that were in the rings, Teresa could hit and roll and stay on. In this case, we're now past the 5 first rocks, so she can hit. But the shooter won't roll into the rings, but rolling for another guard is good.
This is the 2nd rock for Jocelyn Adams.
This one's really over curled. I wanted to roll the other way. This one actually over curled and might have spun on. I think that's a pretty good result, actually. Keeps the shooter in play. Marianne can't really ignore it, otherwise she might give up 2, so she has to hit it. The shooter rolls out on that one. I think they probably would have liked to keep the shooter around. Gives an open house for Jocelyn to draw behind that guard. So this is a pretty key shot, and a lot of these key shots, Ron, happen early in the end. And everyone thinks, oh, it's going to be boring, we just have a guard, but it's really important, and that's why Teresa's helping there again with the sweep to get this stone in the rings, because this is the setup for their 2 points. I actually just rubbed the guard there, didn't quite make it into the rings. That's tough. Just a little
Skip
bit
Breen
light.
seems satisfied with that, though.
Well, she gives a hands up. It's hard. It's first time throwing a draw there for Jocelyn.
Okay, and Christina Black throwing for Team Arsenault. Her shot is on the way.
So I'm a little surprised. I thought Marianne might go for the double peel here, but she's asking Christina to put this in the rings. They got it by the guard. Now they're sweeping to keep it moving, get that last bit of curl. Nice shot from Christina.
3 feet.
So it's too buried to hit. So Marley Powers, who's up now, she's going to try a run back. So hit the blue, right onto the yellow.
It's coming in with a lot of speed.
And so there was the reason for no sweep call. It wasn't quite curling up enough, just ran a bit straight. Hit the stone too high side, but the yellow's exposed now. Marianne's got to guard it.
Christina Black's second stone on the way. Will she be trying to set up a guard here for Team Arsenault in this case, Selena?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes what's happening really does dictate the shot. There's no point in putting another one in the rings and grouping the stones, so this is a guard call. It looks like it did the trick. So now instead of running a blue stone back, this is a run back of a yellow stone. Not as desirable for Team Breen. But they have to deal with that stone in the forefoot. It is in steal position.
Marley Powers' shot is on the way.
Well, that looks like a good one, doesn't it? Straight run back, both yellows are gone. Good shot from Marley.
The two guards in front, would you say Teresa Breen is in a good position for scoring more than a point?
It kind of depends on this shot from Marianne. So the way that Marley had to play the run back, her shooter was left out front, and it is a center guard. And so because it's Team Arsenault's throw now, it really does favor them if Marianne can put this in a good spot in the top forefoot, maybe just nibbling the button. They'll be in a great steal position, but if it's a miss and it goes too deep, then it's a really good position for Team Breen.
Important shot early in the match for Skip Marianne Arsenault.
Christina's asking them to sweep. This one's diving at the guard. Can they get it by? Oh, it'll rub. So that's too bad. There, a couple times this end, we've seen a stone rub on a guard. So what I mentioned earlier about if Marianne's unable to sink that, it'll be a good position for Teresa. So it's an open house with a couple guards out front. If Teresa can now get this one mostly buried so it's hard to hit, she'll be in a good position to score a couple. And that's how quickly an end can turn around. So Teresa's going to want this to be behind the guard in the forefoot area. Deep enough that it'll curl, but not so deep that it goes behind the tee line.
First rock for Teresa Breen, with third Marley Power really surveying the shot as it comes in.
Sweepers are working on it to get it by. Jocelyn and Amanda. You get it by the guard. It's certainly not deep in the rings, is it? They got it there. So pretty good result. I don't think Marianne can see much of that stone from the hack. She might have to play a run back. Oh, she's drawing. This is interesting. So I mentioned that Teresa would want her stone in the 4-foot, and it's not there. It's in the 12-foot, biting the 8. So Marianne can draw, and I think the reason she's playing this instead of the run back is that she did just play this draw. She was she overcurled a little bit, but she would make an adjustment now. So in order to outcount that blue stone, knowing that if it's not good enough, she might give up too. I'd probably be tempted to play the run back myself, just because it's a little more straightforward.
Shot on the way for Team Arsenault. This looks like it could be a tight fit.
Yeah, they're working hard to get it by that top stone. Once it's by, then they're going to want it to curl. So it's by. Working really hard. This looks like a good shot here.
Great shot.
Really well done.
Just biting on the 8-foot and the 4-foot.
So it outcounts the blue. Teresa doesn't have anything. She doesn't have a way to deal with that yellow stone other than outcounting it by drawing. So what a way to force.
Last rock of the second end.
So this is a draw to the 4-foot for Teresa Breen for the single. Tied at 0, playing the second here at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Amanda's saying it's heavy. Sweepers don't want to sweep that. And so Christina's able to drag that past the yellow, and that will be a steal of 1. On a good shot from Marianne Arsenault, and they will lead 1-0 after 2 ends.
Teams seem to get together just to talk a little bit about what they want to do at this point in the match. Is that common after every end,
It's
Selena?
very common to have a post-end conference and plan the next end, talk about anything, if anyone had questions, concerns, anything they want to bring up. It's a good time to do it in between ends. There is a little bit of a grace period with the time.
And first rock will go to Team Arsenault and lead Kristen Clark for the third end. Team Arsenault leads 1-0 over Team Breen.
And I'll give an update across the sheets because we've seen at least an end posted on all sheets. So Mary McKetton Driscoll leads Colleen Jones 1-0, playing the second. Jill Brothers, after a blank in the first, leads Tanya Hellard 2-0. And Kristen McDermott, they're finishing up the second end, but McDermott leads Julie McAvoy 2-0.
Like my sister's at some really red clay bricks. It's a shot. So that stuff really.
So Kristen Clark's up again here. She's been throwing the first stone for 3 ends in a row, and somehow they're up 1-0.
You can't beat it for that.
That's what a steal does.
Unless you can, I said when they go to show up, you find out who's doing it.
And content just to knock out Breen's, Team Breen's shot inside the house.
Yeah, it's just a little bit different from last end where we did see the guard go up, but slipped in the rings there. So second chance to put up a corner guard.
This is Amanda Simpson for Team Breen.
And I'm just looking across the sheets. The Jones, McKett, and Driscoll second end just finished. It looked like a score 3 for Team Jones. That's Kim Kelly throwing last rocks this year. So there's the corner guard from Amanda. Not sure if the Yellowstone's in the ring. It's on the other side. Doesn't matter too much, other than if it's in, it could be a force, or a reason for a force later for Team Breen.
And the second for Team Arsenault. Jennifer Baxter's first shot is on the way.
So Jen's just throwing a stone up the center line. I think Marion wants this one in. So we'll get that one into the 8-foot. It overcurled a little bit. It's to the side of the center line, which is surprising it curled that much.
First rock for second Jocelyn Adams for Team Breen.
They'll probably play this one fairly conservatively, not putting up too many guards, but trying to make the roll if they can. The shooter will roll a bit too far, I think. Yeah, it'll go out. So Team Arsenault, we're past the 5-rock rule. They can peel now. They couldn't peel on Jen's first.
Because it was outside the house.
Because it was outside the house and the 5-rock rule was in effect, yeah. But now we'll see the high hard one, big weight, peel, we call these. Removing the guard and the shooter to fly away too. You see it spin off there. And actually nudge their one. It's going to get rid of everything, isn't it? So nothing in play, and that's what Arsenault wants. Team Breen would like a few more stones in play. So we still continue to put up a corner guard.
Second rock for Jocelyn Adams.
Yeah, there's another one up that way too. Yeah.
So that one's a little deep. Christina can hit and roll onto the rings here. We're probably looking at a blank end here, though. It's pretty open. No. Only the 1 rock in play at the time.
Team Arsenault's third, Christina Black, with her first shot on the way. And again, clearing the rock from Team Breen.
Yeah, the shooters, they actually wanted to hit that on the center line side and roll the shooter toward the center line. So with that one over curling, it's sort of acting as a guard. We'll see if Marley can draw around it.
They'll never stop on the way here. Bribe, don't bribe them, they'll say, well, Let's eat those chicken fingers. Get your package of chicken fingers on the way. Yeah, he starts hockey Sunday. That'll be interesting. I'll have to go see that for sure.
That one looks a little heavy. Sliding back, and will it go through the rings? I can't see. Did it go out?
Appears to have gone out.
Right out the back. That's too bad. It's really hard to draw over to the sides. Marley hasn't thrown anything there. You usually give it a little bit of extra weight when you draw into the wings. And unfortunately that one just had a little bit extra.
Third Christina Black's shot is on the way for Team Arsenault.
No mistake there. That one's right in the forefoot. Team Breen can't really ignore it. They've got a hit, and things will stay open here. Like to stick the shooter around though, and keep the one stone in play.
Third for Team Breen, Harley Powers. And she knocks out Team Arsenault's forefoot. Skip Marianne Arsenault preparing for her first shot of the third end.
It's pretty straightforward for Marianne. Just hit and stay. They're up the point. They don't need to make things too complicated. And these do end up being long games. We're used to playing in a lot of tournaments. We're on their 8 ends, and these are 10. So what happens is teams have a little more flexibility at the beginning to kind of keep things open and not have too many rocks to play. So they know they have the time at the end, 2 extra bonus ends to make up for things that don't go their way.
Both teams, Arsenault and Breen, seem to be feeling each other out at this point and getting used to the ice surface. Skip Teresa Breen for Team Breen, preparing for her first shot. You can see her third, Marley Powers, pointing the target.
Jocelyn working on this one really hard. Probably tight out of Teresa's hand. Don't want to lose the shooter. So that'll stick around over on the other side of the house. I don't know if Marianne will go for the roll here. She could try and roll over just to the side behind that yellow stone. It's worthwhile playing it pretty aggressive. Because this is her last stone and Teresa only has 1 left, so if she rolls out, it's no big deal.
Skip Marianne Arsenault, her last rock of the third end.
Going to try and roll the shooter toward Kristen, but I think this will come up to nose, yeah. So now for the blank. Teresa will throw a little extra weight on this one. Doesn't want to hit and stay, wants to hit and roll out to preserve hammer. We saw her do that in the first end. And then wasn't able to get the 2 and actually gave up a steal there in the second. So Really like to get the 2 points with hammer.
Last rock for end number 3, coming from skip Teresa Breen. Looking for a takeout and a rollout and a blank.
That one looks great. Good shot. No sweepers needed. And we'll have our second blank end of the game. If you're just joining us, thanks for tuning in to the Nova Scotia Scotties Tournament of Hearts version 2019. We are, or I am Selena Thompson. I'm joined by Ron Marr, and we are featuring Team Breen and Team Arsenault, Sheet C. And if you'd like to watch some games, you can come on out to the Dartmouth Curling Club. You can follow the scores online at nscurl.com. All of the games are live scored, so you can catch up with your team there if you're cheering for Jones, McKetton, Driscoll, Brothers, Hilliard, McDermott, or McAvoy. Or, of course, our 2 here today, Arsenault and Breen. And we'll have coverage throughout the week. If you can't make it out to the Dartmouth Curling Club, we'd love to have you join us online.
This is a round-robin tournament. Each team will face each other. And how many will advance to the
3
national championship? So 3.
Oh, sorry, 3 advancing to playoffs, 1 advancing to
One advancing to the national championship. So the top 3 teams will play off, and the top team will go to the national championship in Sydney for the National Scotties Tournament of Hearts, which is February 16th to 24th.
We've got 1 player out on the ice that really wants to play at the Scotties at home. That's Christina Black, 3rd on Team Arsenault.
She's from Cape Breton.
She is. She's very excited that it's coming home. I know she's been part of a lot of news broadcasts and done some media interviews. I think I saw Kim Kelly from Team Jones joining her there as well a couple months ago, doing some promo work.
Amanda Simpson's just content to take out Kristen Clark's lead shot, and Kristen Clark's second rock is coming up.
We get the nose hit there from Kristen. She can probably thank Jen for that. Jen was sweeping that. And then
second rock for Amanda Simpson for Team Breen.
So we're seeing that. I talked about the 5-rock rule, and it seems like Team Breen, this is their style of handling the 5-rock rule. So we saw 1 stone go in from Team Arsenault, and then a hit from Team Breen, and then another hit from Arsenault, and then the corner guard going up from Team Breen. So they're not putting the first corner guard up. They're taking it on the second one. I know a lot of teams are taking that method or that strategy because, of course, if you put up a guard early, you can let the other team, the team without hammer, get a couple in the rings in a good position. So I can just see that they've chosen to go this route for dealing with the 5-rock rule. And I'm sure if they were down a number of points, they would likely put up a guard earlier, but they're happy to play it this way for now.
Jennifer Baxter's shot, second for Team Arsenault.
And it's a little slightly off center guard, but that's you got to guard the stone in the ring. So we've got the yellow Arsenault counter, a guard out front for on that stone, a blue guard, and now Jocelyn Adams is being asked to play the come around on the corner.
With the 5-rock rule in effect at this point, of the end, she could have a lot of options here. Team working hard to curl that around the guard into the house.
And they got it done. Some hard work from the sweepers. They haven't been putting those stones deep, have they? We saw one light, a little bit light in the last end from Teresa as well. It was in the rings, but pretty high up. So with that one being buried, we'll look for the run back from Jen Baxter.
Skip Arsenault is aiming for one of the front guards for Team Breen. She's coming in with a lot of steam.
Just misses the back one. The shooter rolls over, though, to a good position, overlaps the other yellow guard, and protects their own stone. So Teresa can't really ignore that situation now.
Jocelyn Adams with the first second for Team Breen. And coming in with a lot of speed.
But that one's over curling. Gets the other guard. Shooter roll out. So the yellow Arsenault stone is exposed, but there is still a center guard out front. It wasn't the stone that Teresa wanted Jocelyn to hit there.
Skip Arsenault is setting the target for her third, Christina Black. This is her first throw of the fourth.
Love the shooter to stick around. Just rolls a little bit toward the center. So 2 yellow stones in the rings, yellow guard on the center line. It's not looking great for 2 points here for Team Breen, but if they can hit and roll in behind, they might give themselves a chance.
Harley Powers, third for Team Breen. Sorry, that's Jocelyn Adams.
Oh, Marley.
Oh, it is Marley? Okay. And she does get around.
She gets around a tiny little roll. I don't know if Christina can see the whole blue stone, but it's likely exposed enough that she can stick around.
Second shot for third, Christina Black. And Team Arsenault. See the curling come into the house.
Yeah, one didn't want to curl up quite enough, but ends up removing the shot stone. Shooter rolls out, so a bit of an out here for Team Breen. They're trying to keep things clean. Love to make the roll behind that center guard, but the goal here is to just make sure there's no Arsenault stones in the rings.
Second shot for third, Marley Powers, Team Breen.
I think this one to curl up and roll the shooter under, but I think this is going to hit on the high side. Oh, it'll roll out.
Just a slight miss caused the rollout.
Yeah, it's tough. Even if it had hit on the nose and stuck around and been in the rings, I think Marianne would have hit it. But rolling out, now Marianne can draw around that center guard. So it's just a chance to put the pressure on.
Skip Arsenault's first shot in the fourth end.
Well, she made this pretty nicely in the second. And ended up with a steal. So Marianne would be looking for top 4 foot with this one. Needs to curl. Once it starts going and they know it's in, then they're going to keep working it to keep it moving, get every bit of curl out of that. That's a good shot.
Well placed.
It's going to be pretty hard, you can see based on where it ended up, for Teresa to outcount that with her next one. She might want to play the run back just to try and open things up. Front end likes to run back. They're being pretty direct about that.
Skip Breen has a good look at things, and she's getting prepared to make her first shot of the 4th end.
So here comes the run back, yellow onto yellow. That one's over curled a little bit, just missed the back one, but it opens it up. Shooter rolls over. So Marianne will just guard her stone that she just threw.
The margin of error is very slim for these rollouts. Appeared to be a great shot.
Yeah, she wasn't far off, but you do need to remove the stone in the rings. That's not good enough just to get the guard. You got to get the one in the rings as well. So Marianne can guard this. Teresa will have a draw to the 4 foot for her signal.
We're in the 4th end. It is 1-0 Team Arsenault over Team Breen. Team Arsenault is with the yellow rocks, Team Breen with the blue rocks. Skip Marianne Arsenault preparing for her final shot of the 4th end. You can see where the 3rd, Christina Black, is targeting as the stone starts to curl towards that target and set up a block.
Yeah, they want this to be half, so split the center line, and looks pretty good to me. It might be a tiny piece open, but I don't think it's anywhere enough for Teresa to hit with confidence and actually get the yellow stone out. So this will just be the straight draw for her single.
And again, with the hammer, getting a single is typically something you settle for, but you're certainly shooting for 2.
So we call it a force because it's not ideal. You're forced to only take the 1, and you still have to make your shot. It's not a gimme. So this is for her single, tie things up in the 4th end. Teresa Breen needs 4 foot. This one's curling quite a bit. A little surprised. Marianne played the other side of the sheet, and the outturn side. Teresa played the intern side, and that one over curled, so that'll be another steal of 1. So after 4, with a steal of 1 in the 2nd and a steal of 1 in the 4th, Arsenault will lead Breen 2-0. You are watching the 2019 Nova Scotia Scotties Tournament of Hearts. We've got Team Arsenault versus Team Breen. We're through 4 of 10 ends, and just looking across the scoreboards here. Ron. It was a score of 2 in the third for McKett and Driscoll that brought them all square with Team Jones at 3 apiece, playing 4. A steal of 1 in the third increased Brothers' lead over Hilliard, 3-0. And after they were leading 2-1, McDermott over McAvoy. McDermott took a big 4 points in the third, so they lead 6-1. We got a lot of rocks in play on the other sheets. We haven't had a ton of rocks in play on our sheet, but we've got lots of rocks on the other sheets.
First rock from Team Arsenault on the 5th end on the way. She throws to the back of the forefoot.
Yeah, in the rings is good. When you're the team that's up a couple points, you tend not to want to have a lot of guards in play. They help the other team, the team needing the points.
First rock for Team Breen with Amanda Simpson.
So no change here in strategy for Team Breen. Still looking for the hit on Amanda's first, and I suspect we'll see the guard called for a second. But a good hit there.
Lead Kristen Clark preparing for her second shot. 5th end. Oh, hit to the button.
Yeah, she threw, she threw to the back 4, but now her shooter stays on the button. That happens a lot. We talk about rocks moving up in the rings as you hit. So every time you hit, your rock stays a little further up than the previous one.
Lead Amanda Simpson for Team Breen. We'll see how she answers.
Yeah, so just like in the other ends, Amanda puts the guard up on her second rock, so that's the call here. And that 5 rock rule, it can't be hit, so Jen Baxter will just guard her own. I feel like we saw this in the last end, didn't we?
Jen Baxter is the second for Team Arsenault, and this is her first rock in the 5th end.
Not a good guard there. Kind of blocks the draw path for Team Breen as well, actually. So I think they're going to have to play on the one in the rings.
Second, Jocelyn Adams for Team Breen. And now with the 5 rock rule, she can clear out a guard, if that's her play.
Yeah, they need points, so they're not going to remove the guard at this point. They're playing down to the one in the rings. Trying to tap it a little bit, I think, but this one looks light, really light.
And it just passes the lead guard for Team Arsenault.
Yeah, unfortunate for that one to not make it into the rings. It only complicates things more for Team Breen, and Now Jen's not so worried about playing that peel.
She's curling around the lead guard for Team Breen and actually parks herself in the forefoot. Just nudged the button.
I wanted that one to stick a little higher and not bounce out, but still a good position for Team Arsenault with the guards out front. Jocelyn needs to clear up some of the mess. Actually hung wide and ticked their corner guard and didn't get any of those center guards. This is not looking great for Team Breen. Marianne's happy to just lob another one in there. We're down to third stones.
Could we see another guard coming from Team Arsenault?
I think they're going to throw this one into the ring, so into the top of the house. They've got the two guards out front. They're peelable, but if you put another stone in the rings, it's pretty good as well.
She really nudged her rock up to her front guard.
So Teresa's going to look and see, is there a way to get rid of all three of those? I think you got to just make a play on the top one. You might get a bit of drag onto the blue stone.
So first shot coming up for third, Marley Powers.
Sure they get the they're trying to hit the yellows, but two rocks in a row there run really straight. Actually only removed the one blue, and those yellows still are out front on the center line, so those are helping Team Arsenault.
Skip Marianne Arsenault pointing for the back of the house, back right from our angle, and Christina Black's second stone is on the way.
So they love this one. They don't mind if it's not in the rings, but they'd love it to be in the top 12 foot, even into the top 8 foot. A little bit behind cover.
Working hard to curl it in.
I'm gonna keep this moving. Didn't quite curl up enough. That's why they were sweeping it to keep the curl. So I think it's open for Team Breen. Maybe partially buried. I think Marley can see half or a big half of that stone. It's funny. I was just wondering as she's making the call, I'm like, can she keep her shooter around? And then they revert her back to the appeal call here. And you see how important it is to not have those stones out front. They're not happy with those rocks, so switch back to the appeal call. If you make the call on the one in the rings, it's great, but it's the risk of missing it. So redirected that front stone back into the rings and actually got rid of two of the yellows. So one of the guards and one of the ones in the rings.
Also opened things up for Skip Teresa Breen, provided Skip Arsenault doesn't put another guard up there.
It was a pretty good result there for Marley. Moved the stone off the button. Remember there was that one that was just or that was fully on the button, so it's now off. So Teresa has a shot for a single, but Marianne's not going to try and make that easy.
Team Arsenault does play at the Dartmouth Curling Club, as we mentioned before. Skip Arsenault ready to make her first shot of the fifth end.
So this is the guard call. They need this to curl up a little bit more. And just gets to the center line. Actually brought that one in. I thought they'd leave that a little higher. There is a play for Teresa to try and get all three of those yellows moving. This'll have a lot of weight on it, this throw. So looking to clear things up and give herself a chance on her last. Jocelyn's working on this one. Trying to keep it straight. Oh, and that over curl and shoots that yellow past everything.
Still leaves two in the house for Team Arsenault.
Oh, that had to hit a little higher and would have gotten something in the rings. That just went by that back Yellowstone. So another guard here. So she just threw this one. Expect her to have a pretty good chance of having the right weight here for another guard.
Here is Skip Marianne Arsenault's last rock of the fifth end.
So looking for this one to block the draw path. I'd be okay with it being in the rings. Doesn't have to be in the rings. But trying to block that draw path to the button. This one's coming deep and just overlaps, so that is a pretty good result. Teresa doesn't have much of an option here. She's got to try for that draw right to the pin. And just adjusting her ice, so they know what the draw to cross the center line to get to the button is, but this has to go out a little bit wider in order to go around the stone that Marianne just threw. After this end run, we'll have a short break, fifth end break, where the ice will get mopped up, just clean things off. Teams will have a little break, regroup, and we'll catch everyone back after. But for now, Teresa with a difficult draw for a single here in the fifth.
Breen's final shot of the 5th end.
Working hard on this one to get it there. Sweepers have been on it the whole way. I think they knew it was light out of her hand. And they won't get it by, and that'll be a big steal of 3.
Three
So
for Team Arsenault.
After 5, that is the score. 5 for Arsenault to 0 for Breen, and we will catch everybody back here at the 2019 Nova Scotia Scotties Tournament of Hearts in a few minutes.
Okay, we're back. We're here for the Nova Scotia Scotties Tournament of Hearts at the Dartmouth Curling Club. We're calling the Team Arsenault versus Team Breen. This is the first match of the round-robin tournament, starting today at 3 o'clock. Team Arsenault is up 5-0 after 5 ends. They just had 3 points in the 5th end. And we're starting the 6th end with Team Arsenault playing to the 4-foot, or just outside the 4-foot. And Team Breen lead Amanda Simpson preparing for her first shot. She sets up a guard to our left, their right. And Team Arsenault lead Kristen Clark preparing for her second shot. Team Breen does have the hammer in the 3rd end and looking to put some points on the board after a 5-0 deficit after 5 ends. And Kristen draws to the button. And Amanda Simpson will reply for Team Breen with her second rock. Amanda Simpson nudges the button.
Well, they've got their corner guard out there this end, Ron, on the first of Amanda's, and so an okay setup to score a couple points for Team Breen.
Second, Jennifer Baxter for Team Arsenault, playing out of the Dartmouth Curling Club. She comes in quite hot.
Yeah, it starts to become very simple if you're wondering, like, from a strategy standpoint. The team that's up in points, so Team Arsenault right now, they're up 5 points. They don't need to mess around. Get their couple in the rings, and then they'll play some hits. So they're okay giving up 1 or 2 points. They just want to keep it clean. I find it very interesting that Arsenault has yet to have hammer this game. They've been a steal team this game. And really it was in that last end where just a couple misses on some peels and hits from Team Breen, and that's resulted in the big steal.
Team Breen, Jocelyn Adams, first rock.
So Jen Baxter's just being instructed to peel this rock out. You see the 2 yellows in behind the blue Breenstone. Could be jam rocks, but Jen throws is hard enough and hits it just high enough. Should go through the hole. Might just peel it over the top of everything too. No, she got it right through. Didn't even remove the back yellow.
Skip, Marianne. Arsenault looked pleased with that shot.
I don't think they would have minded getting rid of one of the back yellows. Those aren't really helping them right now, but I guess she'll take what she can get.
Team Breen, Jocelyn Adams. Her second shot is on the way.
So just trying to keep these yellow stones in play. I think they're looking for the hit and roll on this one, and didn't quite make the roll, but kept those yellows, a couple of them at the back. The whole intent there is to keep the shooter in play and keep that corner guard out front. They can use that.
Christina Black's first rock of the 6th end. She's the 3rd for Team Arsenault.
So Team Arsenault wants to keep the play away from that corner guard. But we may see Teresa just play the draw now. She doesn't need to mess around with those stones in the 4-foot and the 8-foot area. Use that corner guard. The yellow stones are behind the tee line. It's a good position to try and get that stone in scoring position behind the corner guard. So it'll be time for Marley to make that shot. This one is really curling, looks light to me. And that'll just wreck on the front. Trista's got a pretty good sense of humor. Things aren't quite going their way this game.
Again, this is game 1 of the round robin tournament for all the competitors, with the top 3 advancing to the playoffs. Here's Christina Black's second shot.
And no mistake there, just a straight peel of the guard. Peels are hard to do if you have rocks that curl, but when you can throw that much weight with nice rotation, it takes a lot of the curl out of it. So you throw a very straight rock and not worried about the shooter, just goes along with the hit stone. So with Marley nudging that corner guard on her last shot, it pushed the guard over a little bit. It's really hard now to draw and outcount either of the two. Well, it's impossible to draw and outcount either of the two yellow stones if you're behind the guard. So they're playing this freeze game now, and this one's still light again. Needed that one to be about 7 feet heavier.
Skip Marianne Arsenault is making her way, prepare for her first shot of the 6th end. She enjoys a 5-0 lead after 5 completed ends. And playing out of the Dartmouth Curling Club.
So this is a straightforward call, just peel the front one. Any guards are going to be favoring Team Breen at this point. This one looks good, no mistake there. So still the freeze. So Teresa has 2 stones left, Marianne 1. So Teresa's going to try and make this freeze. So place her blue stone on top of the shot yellow stone. And try and make it so Marianne can't hit it. It has to be dead nose with no separation. I think the freeze is one of the most difficult shots in curling. When I describe it like that, does it sound hard? You can't bump the yellow stone. You have to be right on the nose, right in front of it, and no separation.
Playing the freeze in this case, would you come in hard or would you come in just with a nudge?
No nudge at all. You have to
So
throw
you're coming
it.
in
It's a draw.
hard, and that's
A freeze is the most precise draw you can throw. Yeah. There's no margin for error in terms of line or weight. And the sweepers are there to help you, of course. This one looks like it's a little heavy. Coming down now, though. but they just want to get the line right on the nose. It's going to bump it a little bit. Bumped it a foot. So it will be available for Marianne to hit. And she's going to choose to hit it on the side where it's easiest to remove it. So on the high side, the broom side of the rock.
Ella's on her way.
So you can see how if that stone hadn't bumped the yellow, that it would be much harder to remove. But there is some separation between the stones, so Marianne can come down with a whole bunch of weight and just peel that blue stone out of there.
Skip Marianne Arsenault's final shot of the 6th end. It's her third, Christina Black, giving her a target.
This one's curling. They don't want to come up to nose on this. Looks like it has over curled. I'll jam on the back. So, big change. Teresa thought she'd be looking at a draw for one, but now she has a hit for two.
It really changed the whole complexion of this end with that last
We're gonna
shot.
announce the 50-50 winner.
And very few times we've seen Marianne Arsenault miss, and that one seemed to be a bit of a miss.
Yeah, it definitely over curled and out of her hand. She might have been a bit tight. We're not totally behind
Winning
the
ticket
sheet.
number is 542985. Take home is $50.
Important shot for Teresa Breen.
542985.
Yeah, this will be a good morale booster. Just hit the stone, keep your shooter around. Just has to be in the 8-foot. Full 8.
She's playing for two here and to get herself back in the game.
This one's over curling as well. We saw Marianne's just over curl. Don't want the shooter to roll too far. Looks good. So good for two. She can
Important
thank her sweepers
shot.
for that one. Yeah. So
Important shot.
score 2 for Breen, and Arsenault will continue to lead though. It's 5-2.
5-2 after 6. And Selena, if you could update the audience on what's happening in the other matches.
Yeah, I was looking across the sheets. So we've had all the scores posted for the 5th end. So in the McKetton-Driscoll versus Jones game, McKetton-Driscoll scored in 4 and stole in 5. They lead Jones 5-3. In the brothers Hilliard game, Hilliard scored 2 in the 4th to be within 1 point, and then brothers taking 1 in 5. They now lead 4-2. And we have a fairly wide open game over there in the McDermott-McAvoy game after a big score of 4 in the 3rd and then a steal of 3 in the 4th. And that's from McDermott, and McAvoy only able to respond with a single in the 5th. McDermott leads McAvoy 9-2, playing 6. And that is your update. So we're back on our sheet C. And if you're following all week, we do have live broadcasts of the games throughout. Live scoring on nscurl.com. And we're happy to bring this provincial championship to you from the comfort of your home. Of course, you can come on out to the Dartmouth Curling Club. We're on Canal Street. We're here all week. And we're also in conjunction with the Scotties Tournament of Hearts running the Deloitte Tankard. So that's the men's provincial championships. It's always fun to have both championships under one roof, and makes for a good viewing audience. So we've got the streams of those games as well. Of course, the top 8 men's teams in our province vying for the Tankard title.
So the men play this evening, Selena?
Yep, they will play this evening. I got a couple horses in the race. My 2 younger brothers. And everyone always asks, who do you cheer for? And I say, both.
And they're both playing at the Mayflower Curling Club?
No, neither of them. So we've got my brother Stuart plays out of Dartmouth here, this club, and my brother Kendall plays out of Halifax Curling Club. And we've got the men's draw tonight at 8 p.m.
We're in the 7th end, and Team Arsenault's second shot is coming from lead Kristen Clark. Arsenault has been in control of this match, leading 5-0 after 5. Team Breen, Teresa Breen, made a great shot to take 2 in the 6th, and we stand at 5-2 with Team Arsenault leading.
So a bit of a change here. For the first time all game, Team Breen does not have hammer. They got a little bit of work to do. They're down 3 points. But like I mentioned before, 10-end games feel a lot longer than those 8-end games that we see in Bonspiels. So 2 extra ends to score a couple more points.
Shot came from the second, Jocelyn Adams from Team Breen.
Just going a little deep. That one's in the rings. So for Team Arsenault, not much has changed except the fact they have hammer now and last stone. So they'll be keeping things very clean. Probably noticed they're playing a lot more hits than Team Breen is.
Team Arsenault with the yellow rocks and the red and black jerseys. Team Breen with the blue rocks and blue and white and black jerseys.
Breen is blue, wearing blue and black. It's easy to remember when the coats line up with the rock color. Although I've yet to see a team rock like really good yellow. Oh, Suzanne Bird out of PEI, they wore yellow a couple years ago.
Second, Jocelyn Adams shot is underway for Team Breen. And she sticks and rolls out Team Arsenault.
Not a lot going though for Team Breen. They do have 2 stones in the rings, but I think Arsenault is second shot, so they're keeping their chances open for a score or 2 here. Pretty straightforward score or 2.
Both teams seem content just to knock each other out at this point. You can see Team Arsenault has a guard to the right of the house.
Roll out there, a little unfortunate there for Team Arsenault, and Jen would like to keep the shooter around, so I think Team Breen, they're just talking whether they hit the Arsenault stone or not. They've got to keep the play to the center. I would be fairly tempted to just hit and try and force Arsenault to a single. He'd be down 4 with 3 ends to play.
Team Breen, Marley Powers, third, her first shot on the way.
So that stone ends up nice center guard. Marianne's not going to ignore it. She doesn't need to score here. So the chance giving up a steal is too risky. So the peel's the call for Christina Black. And just narrowly misses the peel on the other blue in the rings as well. That was really close to perfect.
What will Marley be looking at on this shot?
Just another guard. They need to keep play to the center. Try and get a miss out of Team Arsenault. Leave themselves with a guard. They can come around. Front end was working hard on that one to start with, though. Maybe thought it was a little bit light. Like to bring this one halfway to the rings, maybe even tighter. Ends up in a good spot.
And Christina Black shooting for Team Arsenault. With the direct hit.
Yeah, it makes the hit. The shooter stuck around out front, so we may see Teresa go around that. She could hit and roll off the yellow and try and force that way. It's not a great steal position to be at the side of the forefoot. It's important to have your stone behind this guard. If she would ever play the hit on the yellow stone on the side and not roll her shooter behind, Marianne could theoretically draw and try and get her two that way.
So we're down to the skips in the 7th end. Team Arsenault of the Dartmouth Curling Club leading Team Breen 5-2. First rock for Team Breen, and Arsenault does have the hammer.
So this one, sweepers aren't loving it. They're dragging behind. I think it must be a little bit heavy there. We'll see if it'll slow down and sit. Christina Black, of course. I don't know if you know this rule, Ron, but you can sweep the opponent's stone once it crosses the tee line. So Christina was allowed to sweep that. Not before, though. So that one was heavy. And Arsenault already has shot stones, so Marianne looking to put this one around the guard and try and get 2 points here. So trying to throw the same stone that Teresa just attempted.
Skip Marianne Arsenault's first shot of the 7th end. She plays around her guard.
And looks like she got it half buried. So for Teresa, it's yellow sitting 2. You don't want to give up 2 points here. The force is okay. So they're looking at, there's a double on the yellows. She could sit 2. But does the redirect and the hit on the second yellow go back into her own blue?
Another important shot for Teresa Breen, who's been playing catch-up from the 2nd end when Arsenault had a steal. Arsenault also scored 1 in the 4th and 3 in the 5th, with Teresa Breen responding with 2 in the 6th. So we have a 5-2 match at this point. Team Arsenault from the Dartmouth Curling Club leading.
I think Teresa's got to go for that double. She doesn't have a great chance to hit the shot Yellowstone and leave her shooter in a steal position. And not a great chance to come around that shot stone either. So looks like they are lining up that double.
Teresa discussing things with her third, Marley Powers, where they want to go with this shot. And it does indeed look like they're going to be looking for the double.
It's a tough shot. But I don't think she's left with anything else. So you throw what works.
Teresa's last shot, the 7th in.
Looking for the big double.
She's coming in with speed. There's one, and she just nudges.
Had a little too much of the first stone and lost its momentum. So Arsenault still sits one. This will be a draw for 2 points here for Marianne. And it was an end where it really was up to Team Breen to try and force the situation. A lot of hits from Team Arsenault and always looking out for that easy 2 points. And she has a chance here if Marianne can make that draw.
Last rock of the 7th in. Team Arsenault, skip Marianne Arsenault. Trying to draw for 2 points.
She needs full 8 foot for this.
It's curling in behind. Oh, did she go too heavy?
Looks a little heavy, but it is grinding down in the slide path. So good for 2 points. So they've got Team Arsenault has that 5-point lead back. They will now lead 7-2.
7-2 after 7 ends. And they confer with each other. It's getting ready for the 8th end, and we're getting to a point in the match, Selena, that Team Breen is really going to have to take some chances.
Yeah, they're going to have to use, I think, their 2 corner guards this end and really ignore some of Team Arsenault's stones in the rings. And I'll give everybody an update as well. I didn't see the result of the 6th end in the McDermott-McAvoy game, but it was handshakes after that end. So McDermott has defeated McAvoy. So that's our first final of this event. And we have a tie game in the brothers Hilliard game. Team Hilliard getting 2 points in the 6th to tie things up at 4 apiece. And we're just waiting. I think it was a score of 2 for Team Jones to tie things up against McKett and Driscoll in the 6th. So our game has a 5-point spread, but the other 2 games on the sheet tie. There'll be some exciting scores to watch as we keep going. A reminder, those are on nscurl.com, and you are watching the Scotties Tournament of Hearts, the 2019 Nova Scotia Provincial Women's Curling Championships. And if you didn't catch it, I'm with Ron Marr, and my name is Selena Thompson. Thank you for joining us.
Team Arsenault lead, Kristen Clark is just through onto the button, or just shy of the button. Some of the names in this tournament, Selena, obviously we all recognize Colleen Jones or Team Jones. Is there some other veterans that we should know of, or are there a lot of newcomers in this?
Her former teammate and multiple-time provincial champion Marianne Arsenault, of course, played with Colleen before, and we have former champion Jill Brothers' team here. Let's try and refresh myself. I've got a wonderful list here from our executive director, Virginia Jackson, handed me. From the, a lot of these teams, players will switch around, so playing with Jill Brothers, of course, Bliss Joyce, Jen Brine. They've been champions before together, along with Sarah Murphy, who's playing with them as well this year. And we've got, just trying to look out here, Jill Thomas playing with Julie McAvoy. She was former champion with Nancy McConnery. That's all I got right now, Ron. And I didn't mention it earlier, but of course, this Arsenault team, they are the defending provincial champions. So looking to repeat and let Christina play at home. That's their goal for this week.
And again, this is a round robin tournament. This is day one of the tournament. Top three will advance to the playoffs, and the winner of the playoffs will advance to the national championship in Sydney, Nova Scotia, February 16th to the 24th.
If you haven't got your tickets, you got to get them. It's going to be a full house there. We got a lot of curling fans in Nova Scotia.
Team Arsenault second, Jennifer Baxter's shot is underway.
So that's just a straight peel. No surprises there from Jen. I'm a little surprised that Team Breen didn't put up the second corner guard. Jen to have the hit.
Jocelyn Adams, second for Team Breen, preparing for her first shot, the 810.
So this is the come around call. Just a little light there from Jocelyn. That's really been the theme of the game, I think, for Team Breen so far. It's just been a little off on their draws, mostly light.
Where it's the first match of the tournament, do you think there's, is it just getting used to the ice?
These are both veteran teams that have been here multiple times. I don't think nerves is a factor as much as getting used to the ice. On the rocks, of course. So Jocelyn will have a second attempt at this draw. This one looks a lot better. Right into the rings. Looks like it's settled nicely behind that guard wall. So this will just be the peel from Christina Black. No panic from Team Arsenault here. They've been here before. It's you sit down and focus. Again, peels seem very easy until you miss a couple and then the other team scores a few. So just focus on making the shots.
They've also had the lead, really a commanding lead since the fifth end. Struck for 3 points and we're leading 5-0. So they've traded off 2 points on the next two ends and currently lead 7-2. So Team Arsenault in good shape at 7-2 and Team Breen with the hammer on the 8th end. And we're looking at Marley Powers The third for Team Breen, her first shot of the 8-10.
And it's pretty straightforward to score the 2 points we saw there in the 6th end for Team Breen. You do tend to need a miss from your opponents to get that 3rd point. And we really haven't been seeing those misses out of Team Arsenault this game. And corner guard, I think, would help.
Shot on the Williams, 3rd, Christina Black for Team Arsenault.
This one's curling more than her first one, and actually over curled, almost got the run back. Just wicked that one at the back. So that blue stone I have, and I see Teresa recognizing this and trying to decide when to play this shot. The blue stone that's in the rings isn't shot, so Team Breen's going to have to deal with these 2 yellow stones in the 4-foot and 8-foot area. And so Marley's stone now. I'm just looking for a tap with backline weight. Doesn't need to remove the yellow stone, but just move it backwards. And that'll protect the blue stone from being removed, the shooter. This one's over curling. Onto the back yellow. Great weight, just over curled. Ends up not being shot or second shot.
Sets up an important shot for the Skips. First shot coming from Skip Marianne Arsenault in the 8th end.
Just looking for the hit and roll. This blue stone, roll the shooter in front of the other blue will really help to eliminate that second blue from play. Going to keep those stones grouped in the 4-foot area. Shooter rolled right onto the button. So for Teresa here, she's trying to look at how to bring that back blue into play maybe, but I don't know that that's possible. Just at this point, tap that thrown stone of Marianne's back about a rock. And her shooter, Teresa's shooter, blue stone, will stay in front and be protected from being removed by the 2 yellow stones in behind. So similar shot to what Marley just threw.
Team Breen and Teresa Breen do have the hammer. Very important part for Teresa, trailing 7-2.
On this one, try and keep it straight. She wants to hit high side, doesn't want to cross the center line. Weight's looking pretty good. And got to the nose, want to keep that a little bit higher. I think Marianne should be able to just put that straight out.
How was the weight on that last shot, Selena?
It was great weight because Teresa hit the yellow on the nose. Her shooter didn't roll, so now that's why it's available for a hit for Marianne. If she had had the same weight but hit it a little more high side, so hadn't hadn't curled as much, the shooter would have rolled a little bit and really would have been almost like a triangle of the 3 stones, and very hard for the blue to be removed behind the back yellows. So really, really close. And unfortunately in curling, close isn't good oftentimes.
The last rock for Team Arsenault is on its way to the 8th end. And she did peel.
So I don't think there's a way here for Teresa to all 3 of those yellows and stick her shooter with 1 shot. So she's just going to throw for her single. And this really drives home the point when I was commenting earlier on why it's a force, why it's not a great thing to be forced to a single. And this is the case here when you really, really would like to get that extra 1 or 2 points, and you do get forced to the single.
Certainly at this time of the match, a single is not going to be enough when you have the hammer and you're in the 8th end and down 5.
You got it. You're learning.
Last rock for the 8th end on the way from skip Teresa Breen.
You're going hard to keep this one straight again. Teresa's having a lot of curl on those out turns. And that'll be enough. So it is 1 point for Team Breen in the 8th. They'll still trail though, 7-3. And back to Arsenault with hammer for only the 2nd time this game.
She enjoys a 4-point lead going into the 9th end. And really her team has played very steady.
And I am looking across the sheets once again. If you aren't following on nscurl.com, our live scores. Have a tie game in the Jones-McKetton-Driscoll after McKetton-Driscoll blanked the 7th, so they'll have hammer playing 8 tied. And in the Brothers and Hilliard game, you've got Hilliard stealing in the 7th, stealing a single point to lead Brothers 5-4.
And we had an early conclusion of a match just a short time ago. And what was that final on that one, Selena?
The final on the scoreboard, I think they did finish the 6th end but didn't post it. So I see a 9-2 for McDermott over McAvoy. Might have been different than that, defeating McAvoy.
We're just starting the 9th end here from the Dartmouth Curling Club for Nova Scotia Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Round robin tournament with the top 3 advancing to the playoffs and the winner going to the national championship in Sydney for the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. And the lead, Amanda Simpson for Teresa Breen's Team Breen is going to be taking her 2nd shot.
So when you don't have hammer, Ron, you need to steal. A couple of center guards are always your friends. And they're always 2 tough shots to throw. You throw your first one and maybe you get it tight to the rings. And then you try to throw the second one really far away. So you try and just drop it over that hog line. And so Amanda's able to do that. So 2 nice center guards in play.
Nice job. And they really need to make something happen here where they're down 7-4. They need a steal. They need to put points up in the next two ends. Here comes lead Kristen Clark for Team Arsenault.
Looking for that tick shot. They don't need stones in play, so there's this interesting shot that we've come to love in curling, and you try and move your opponent's stone off to the side but not out of play. Of course, you're not allowed to remove it from play. So that one from Kristen just curling up a bit too much and bumped the blue stone out of play. So the yellow thrown stone was removed and the blue stone put back up.
Second, Jocelyn Adams for Team Breen.
This is a really critical shot here. I probably will continue saying that about Team Breen, but often your two guards and then your second stone thrower has a very critical draw to make. The ideal position for this one is top 4 foot. And that one will actually cover the button, go a little bit to the back of the button. Pretty good result.
Jennifer Baxter with her second shot.
And so I'm actually not losing the shooter, leaves a yellow guard out front. So that'll be a miss there from Jen.
Jocelyn Adams for Team Breen, her second shot of the 9th inning.
Need to get this one by the guard, and they'd love this one to be in the rings. It's a potential second steal point. And will they get it there? Oof. Oh, it just nibbles the top of the 12 foot. Good sweeping.
Jennifer Baxter's second shot in the 9th. She comes in fairly hot.
We got peel weight. Looking to maybe catch that back blue. Oh, just hung too straight, so leaves those two blues. So for Team Breen, for the first time, I think this game really got the end set up in their favor. Another guard's coming up here from Marley Powers. You gotta get this one over. Looks like it's grinding to a halt. They just want to get it over that hog line, and it gets over.
And they do.
Ooh. You think your sweepers on those ones? I think Marianne can get rid of both guards here.
Team Arsenault, third, Christina Black with her first shot of the 9th. Coming with a lot of weight.
And makes the double, and look at the spin on that yellow stone. Blue still sits 2, but it's looking a lot better for Team Arsenault than it was before, so that's a good shot there from Christina Black.
I noticed some of the players carrying stopwatches, or all of the players carrying stopwatches. What are they timing?
question about that. Yeah, so not all players, but a lot of them will carry a stopwatch, and it's for split times. So there's a number of different ways that you can do that, but in general, it's to gauge how long it takes the rock to get from one reference point to another, and that'll tell you something as you go through the game about how the rock is acting. So you can see tendencies with different paths in the ice, different weights. So oftentimes the skip in the house will be timing from the one hog line to the other. So that's the largest portion of the stone's travel, or the largest distance of the stone's travel. But sweep use their stopwatches between the back line and the hog, or between the tee line and the hog. And again, that's a reference point. So they'll largely judge visually how fast the rock is traveling. But you can also check it with your stopwatch. And Christina missing the run or the slash there. Removes the guard out front though.
So we're down to the skip rocks here in the ninth end, and Team Breen does have two scoring rocks. What would, obviously he's going to try and set up some sort of guard here.
Yeah, so center guard is what Teresa needs here. They're in a very good position to score this end, so just putting the guard out front, blocking the path to the button. The blue stone is already guarded by the Arsenault yellow out front. There's not much they can do about that. Likely they're going to just place the stone on the center line, guarding the button area. Teresa could play this in the rings. It's hard if you leave it exposed, you set up a double. So if they bring it in the rings, I suspect they'd want it to be just underneath the yellow stone. That one I think was a bit light, so the sweep left it. It lined up okay. It covers the stone in the rings. I think it does block the run back on the yellow too, actually. I think Marianne's best bet is to try and peel both of those front rocks and give herself a shot on her last. She doesn't like to do what I think though, does she? She's just playing the draw. No pressure. This would be the shot she'll have on her last, likely, and sometimes you will see skips do this. I tend to have a couple options for the last shot.
Is this almost a test run for her last shot, would you say?
It is. If she makes it good right now, it's perfect. It's wonderful. If you ever miss it, it's probably pretty disastrous, but she doesn't operate thinking that she's going to miss her shots either.
And she is the defending champ.
Sure is.
And we're in the ninth end. This is Marianne Arsenault's first shot.
So she's looking for the draw. Straight draw to the button. Not a lot of room for error here.
What do you mean, wait?
Oh, and she went past the button, but still in great position.
So blue remains shot. The good thing about that is it does outcount the back blue stone, but Teresa right now has a chance to put a second counter in there.
And take out the yellow stone that...
She doesn't even need to remove it, just has to be outcounting the yellow stone. And if it's not out, it sits one. Marianne was pretty close on that one. She was not far off, just about 2 feet heavy.
Teresa Breen coming down, preparing for her shot after looking at what she has to deal with. She's at a point in the match, she's down 4 points, 7-3.
And Teresa's front-enders,
looking to steal.
her sweepers would have been watching Marianne Stone there just to gauge the speed and how it behaved. So this will be a draw into the 4-foot, trying to sit 2, but light's okay here. Love to steal 2 points this end. Down 4, you really do need to steal 2 and then steal another 2 in the 10th. So she was light on her first. This one's coming a little bit deeper. Needs to curl though. And that, it looks like it'll go a little heavy. Freezes down to the back yellow. So for Marianne, there is a pocket to draw to. That's why Teresa did not want that stone to go behind the tee line. So it'll be just the same shot through. Same weight, and she can go into the pocket, into the blue stone. Probably not how she wanted this end to look, but she does have a shot for the single.
And at this point of the match, that might just about do it.
Yeah.
See, it's just starting to curl now. Come around the blue guard.
Sweepers are saying a little heavy. It really started to curl, and is it good for one? Looks like it to me.
It is.
So single point for Arsenault. That'll be 8-3, and we do have handshakes. 5 points is just too much for Team Breen there, so it'll be Arsenault taking that victory. And so if you are following our teams online, you can see them at nscurl.com, the scores, and you can see the end score of the Jones-McKetton-Driscoll game and the Brothers Hilliard game. And for Ron, Mar, myself, on behalf of everyone here at the 2019 Nova Scotia Scotties Tournament of Hearts, thank you very much for tuning in on Bell at TV1, and we will catch you back tonight at 8 o'clock for the men's draw for the Deloitte Tankard. Catch you then.